Hello, blessings to you all, and welcome, my dear Aries friends. This is your July 2018 monthly reading, and thank you for joining me at Inner Landscapes and Enchanted Evening. I just want to go ahead and give you some message, I guess it's one message that I did receive from your divine team and from the creator for you for this month. And it's essentially they want you guys to know as a whole that first, I'll just let you know this the way I heard it exactly, and then I'll give you their message. First I heard uh-oh, and then I heard them saying, your team saying, that it's okay. They're only mistakes, and mistakes can be fixed, so it's okay. And then they also wanted me to mention to you that you can consider, especially what happens this month, what occurs this month, you can consider these mistakes this month, your errors, or any errors that happen, as bloopers. Outtakes of the greatest bloopers reel, that type of thing, which puts it in a much lighter aspect for you all and for those you encounter in relation to any of the mistakes that may happen. Just to acknowledge them and move on. But the other part that I got was that, especially for this month and the energies of this month, they're going to be so everywhere, all over the place. Mistakes are bound to happen. So they encourage you to consider it not only as these things as bloopers, to look back and almost laugh later, even though it may not feel like a laughing moment at the time, to make that your perspective anyway on it, as well as to look at it. The other perspective you can take on it is that you can look at it, especially this month, things that are happening to you or around you, sort of like a game. Yes, games have stakes, but in the end, everything is okay. For instance, the game of basketball, they're showing me. In the end, honestly, yes, you have your fouls, you have your mistakes, you have some wins and scores and all of that. But it is drama ridden, heavily drama ridden. People are invested in it, including the players. But in the end, it's all okay, really and truly, no matter what happens. People may walk away with hurt feelings, but eventually it's really all okay, truly. So that is the message that they have for you about this month of July. Okay, just be light. They like to keep even the heavy energy, what are seemingly heavy energies, they like for you to keep it light. Okay. All right. So now, let's see what they would like you to know, what else they would like you to know for this month. And I actually haven't shuffled these cards fully yet, like I usually do. So please give me a few moments. Okay, now let me get the energies back into these cards for my Aries friends. Okay. Here we go. Okay, I've been mentioning in my other monthly videos for the other signs that I had been guided a few readings back to go ahead and use, add an addition to my normal reading, which is a timeline spread that I generally only use it for in private readings for individuals. And it gives me a better clue. It gives more detail on what's going on at specific pinpoints in time. So I think, like I mentioned before, that I was only guided to do it for that reading, but until I'm guided to not do it anymore, I'm going to go ahead and I think adopt it just in general for the weekly readings and the monthly readings for everyone. So I will explain that part. I'll lay them down now, but I'll explain how the aspects of this once I get to reading these cards for you. Okay? But I think I am going to adopt this timeline spread in addition to the regular one from now on, just so you guys know. All right, let's see. Okay. So the first card we have for the month of July, which shows me what the general overarching theme is for you on the energies and what you'll be experiencing this month is. And this first card is titled Have Confidence. Let's see. Essentially, they want you, like I mentioned in the initial messages, they want you to have more confidence in general, but specifically as it relates to this month. They want you to raise your self-confidence. And that's why they've asked you already to change your perspective on your mistakes, to look at things through a lighter lens, to do your best to try to keep the energies light for yourself and for those around you. Give me just a moment. All right, I'm just gonna say what I'm being shown here. Not sure how it relates, but they keep bringing up irises and violets. I'm not sure why. Maybe those are flowers and I don't know much about these flowers, the spiritual essence or metaphysical properties of those two flowers. But they may help. What I'm picking up is that they may help in grounding and uplifting your energies in regards to your inner confidence, your self-confidence and self-esteem, specifically for this month. So maybe these are flowers that you want to go out and buy a bouquet of and keep around you this month in your home or at the office or whatever, as a reminder and or as actual flowers. Like I said, I don't know their specific properties and what their energies are and how they can help, but flowers do have energetic and spiritual metaphysical properties that different flowers for different things that can help you with your energies, just as crystals have different properties that help and alleviate certain issues or help uplift energies in certain ways, do different types of things with energies. Flowers are the same way. And people do use them in flower therapy, what they call flower therapy. They use them towards different ends. So I'm getting the sense that they'd like you to do some research and tune into these flowers and maybe have some with you throughout this month, at least when you can be around them or have them with you. And again, I'll mention the names irises and violets, especially if you can get violet colored or purple or lavender colored irises, which I think they usually are. They're like a very royal purple, if you will. That'll help a lot with you this month in keeping things light and self-confidence, all of that. Okay, the next card shows what essentially the why behind your general energies that are in play now for this month. The why, or the roots, or the foundation of the general energies that are happening. And this is titled Positive Change, Paravati. Okay. Yeah, they are showing me that you essentially are in need of some good positive grounding, that essentially that you're not always, well, that makes sense because this is the have confidence card, that you're not always secure is what I'm getting in this, that you're not always secure in yourself or with yourself. I got both of those. Maybe for some of you, it's that you're not always secure as you could be with yourself. And for others, it might be that you're not always secure in yourself, meaning being yourself, being in your own skin type of deal. Sometimes you are. I really do get that. But they're showing me, at least this month, that that this is a strong energy for you. And that this has all come up, your general energies for this month have come up because of the fact that you kind of go up and down or back and forth with how secure you are with yourself or within your own skin. They also show me, okay, so what else they're showing me with this is that goes along with your tendency to be up and down with self-esteem and self-confidence, is that you sometimes tend to, I guess in a sense it would be like trying to make up for it or cover the fact. I don't know that you guys necessarily cover. I don't see you trying to wear a mask or anything like that necessarily, but you do try to compensate in ways that aren't necessarily for your best, that don't actually turn out to be in your best interest. That's the way I wanted to put it. That's the word. That's the sense that I was given. Yeah, that you don't necessarily cover it up, but you reach for things that aren't going to give you what it is that you're looking for, which is a concrete, solid self-esteem. Whether you use things to try to compensate or try to use things as an anchor, thinking that it will help you anchor yourself within yourself, or add to your self-esteem, or whether you use people in that sense, or material objects like special clothes, nice clothes and jewelry, or maybe they're also telling me it's positive you use your passionate, and you guys do have strong passionate desires just in general, whether you use those passionate desires to try to anchor self-esteem through sex. I'm also getting through being intimate with other people, when none of those external things are going to get you what you want, and they are also more so to your detriment, which you'll sooner or later find out. So that is why they're bringing in strongly that these energies are occurring this month, because of the insecurities that pop up for you guys from time to time. And I also get that's the sense why they wanted to relay that initial message to you of to be lighter with things. And I feel like that's when maybe you're not as anchored and secure with yourself and your self-esteem and self-confidence as when you make mistakes, or when you are a part of a mistake or an error. It's like, it feels like you beat yourself up inside. Or maybe some of you even allow yourselves to be lessened from outside, from other people, or berated somehow because you feel that you've made a mistake, and it makes you in some sense feel unworthy, when regardless, all along, your self-confidence should be anchored enough to realize that mistakes happen. They're bloopers. They're a part of life, and we get over them, we get past them, and we get better at doing them eventually. Okay? And as far as making the same mistakes over and over, that also doesn't have to hit at your self-esteem. That doesn't have to be a blow at your self-esteem. It's just you, your divine team, and the Creator alerting you to, the universe essentially alerting you to something that you're ignoring that has nothing to do with your self-esteem, whether you should feel good about yourself or not. You should always feel good about yourself, because you are you, and there's only one of you, and you're meant to be. God has put you here. The universe has allowed you to be here and put you here for a specific reason, and with divine teams to boot. That wouldn't be if you didn't matter, if you were insignificant, if you weren't worthy. All of that right there should be self-esteem enough. Those are the things you have to internally look at, not reach for outside of yourselves, they're saying, to help strengthen and build permanent, solid foundation for self-esteem within you. But again, they're saying with you, they'd like you, especially this month, to take it lighter, to take a different perspective, because they believe that will help you. They see that will help you in allowing more self-esteem to grow and take root within you. Okay. So the next card shows me what your core desire is in regards to this, the general energies this month, and it's titled Grace and Antoinette. And with this, they show me a double-sided coin, that you want to be forgiven for the mistakes that you have made, the errors that you have made, but also that you are looking to forgive others who have taken you to task for this and have hurt you, or possibly even reprimanded you or made you feel bad, or like I said, berated you somehow because of your mistakes. They don't understand. The ones that are doing this to you and making you feel bad, they don't necessarily understand that mistakes are mistakes and how mistakes are to be viewed. They don't understand. And when they do these things to you, even though they're not done for your betterment, even then, that should not, even they aren't saying that your self-esteem should take a blow for this. That's not, even when they're not reacting in a beneficial way, even then, what they're telling me is that even these people who do deride you are not taking aim at your self-esteem. They just don't know. They're just reacting, and they don't know what other way to lash out in reaction to it. But even in that scenario, they're saying it is actually you that is going to your self-esteem and chipping away at it with each of these incidents when it has nothing to do with your worth and should never even get to the point where you're chipping away at your self-confidence. So they're saying that that's your core desire, that you want to be forgiven, but you also want to forgive those who have lended to you, hurting your self-esteem. Next, we have the card, which I call your luck card, which shows me what you've already sown, the seeds you've already planted energetically, what's in your flow and already working for you because you've done this, and you don't have to do any more work towards it because it's already working for you. And this is called play. And this relates directly back to the initial message that I got from your team. This is something you're already good at, play and keeping things light. So that is why they're showing me. That is why they mentioned that this would be the best way for you to look at things that bring you down, mistakes that bring you down and chip away at you. To use one of your strengths, something that you already have and understand and have going for you, the flow that you're already in, which is you're usually in play mode and keeping things light mode. And that is why they gave you those new perspectives as far as a way to look at your mistakes, because that's something you understand. So that's something you already have going for you. You're good at play. So that will help you for this month. Now, something you will have to work on, one of your challenges for this month, the card is titled Purification, and it's white Tara. And with this, what I'm getting is that situations will occur for you this month where you are going to need to sit within yourself and consider your self-empowerment, your self-esteem in those moments when those areas of self-esteem and self-empowerment and self-power within you feel challenged. You're going to need to sit with yourself in those moments and consider your self-esteem and self-confidence in that moment. And they're showing me that this is going to be the hardest part for you, is just sitting with those feelings and considering your self-worth in those moments. And one, not allowing yourself to chip away at them. And two, they're showing me that just the sitting still part for you and being still with yourself is going to be somewhat of a challenge for you. But it's not undoable. Some of you may have already begun to, meditate or just get into the practice of being able to be alone, in a sense, alone with yourself to understand yourself better. That's what they're saying that the challenge is for you this month, especially for those of you who haven't already begun that type of work with yourself, sitting with yourself, not being afraid to be alone with yourself so that you can gain a better understanding of yourself and be okay with who you are as you are when no one is around, as well as when others are around. Okay. Next card shows me it's the position of what outside or other influences are affecting your energies for this month, the general overarching theme for this month. And this is titled Joy. And this just is a face value card for me, meaning what you see is what you get. And this is showing me that your joy is being impacted and affected and influenced, like I said, possibly from those other people that possibly berate you or cause you to feel bad about yourself, whatever it may be. The outside influences that are affecting you this month in regards to your self-esteem are causing you to, this is diminishing your happiness. It's something you do really need to take a look at and be more consciously aware of, because there are, and likely there will, more than just this month, be that outside influences, other people, whatever, other situations outside of yourself will be affecting or impacting your self-esteem, but you are in charge of your self-esteem, and that's what they're trying to get you to become more aware of and take more charge of, take control of your self-esteem, so that you can be the one who affects your self-esteem and not outside influences that eventually end up stealing your joy, because they're in charge of your self-esteem and joy at this point, instead of you, when it should be the other way around. Okay, next card tells me about the guidance and advice that God and your team have for you for this situation in this month, and it's titled Perfect Timing. Yes, all of this is being done now, this month, and at this time, in complete divine timing. This is happening to you now for a specific reason, and it is to gain mastery over yourself, over what you do have control over. You don't have necessarily control over how people around you react to you. Eventually you may get to that point where you, because of how much mastery you have over yourself and how you treat yourself, that does eventually bleed into showing people how to treat you and what you will and will not stand for and tolerate. But for now, they're showing me this is happening so that you can master yourself, what you do have control over within yourself for now, as a start. So that's that. That's the advice. It's really more of a guidance. It's just letting you know this is all divinely guided for your best interest. The next card I have for you shows what your greatest strength is this month. And your greatest strength is always something you actually already have inside of you. You've already built up inside of you and can use as a tool and pull out of your inner toolbox whenever you need it. And this is titled Desiree. And this is actually telling me that whether you're aware of it or not, you're good. You do have a strength when you say no. When you do get around to saying no, you mean it. And have no compunctions afterwards and no remorse. It's a full sentence for you. No, period. No explanation. I don't need to explain myself. But what I'm getting also is that you don't always remember that you have this strong suit, this card to pull out and as your strength, because there's a part of you, an energy that has grown to be a part of you through growing up in this world that you've taken on, that you do like to please people. You generally can be much of a yes person because you do generally like people. You love being around them in the general sense. And you want to be loved and to love. And that's great. So generally you tend, at least most of you, tend to be a yes person because of life circumstances and growing up. And yeah, but they're saying, and I feel like some of you have already pretty much mastered this already. You do already pull it out and use it as your strength when you need to. But this month they're saying that for those of you who don't already practice this month is going to get you into the practice of saying, hold on, wait a minute. That's a no for me. Whether that's a no, you are not going to speak to me like that, or I'm not going to sit here and take that type of treatment, whatever it is. Or no, I can't do this or that for you. I know I usually say yes, and maybe I've said before that I would do it, but here's what's, occurred since then, and it's a no now. So anyway, so now I'm getting to your timeline spread, and it's 5 cards that I've laid down that will show me, the first 4 cards will show me each of the 4 weeks, the energies that are occurring during that week, and likely situations that'll happen during that time period. And the 5th card shows me any extra energies that may be going on that we haven't necessarily talked about, or we could have talked about in the previous part of the reading. Or they also happens for the 5th card, since it's extra energies, it also shows energies that pop up if there are extra days during the month or an extra weekend, something like that. That's where those energies will pop up. Okay, so the first card, which shows energies and what's happening for you guys for the first week of this month, which was last week, July's first week, is titled Ask. And this is pretty much another face value card, and this is what this is essentially showing me is that there was a situation, at least one last week, give or take a few days, that really did humble you in some way. Humble you in the sense that you didn't know where to take this energy because it didn't feel good. You didn't want to take it into you, they're showing me. But you didn't know what else to do with it. So it's kind of like something knocked you to your feet, something that I believe either a situation had you feeling or someone else had you feeling that you're just like, why? What is it about me? That type of scenario. Something that you took to God last week because you didn't know what else to do with it. It was something you really didn't necessarily take to heart and berate yourself about, like maybe you generally do, but it's something that you could have, but I don't see that you did. You instead took to having conversations with God, so to speak, about it, because you just are, what's the word, flabbergasted. Like, why on earth would this happen? Why would they say or do this to me? Why this situation? Why me? What is it about me? So instead of taking it to heart or chipping away at your self-esteem, which is good that you didn't, you took it to prayer, is what they're showing me. But they did show me that this did affect you deeply regardless. Okay, next card is this week, second week of July, and this is titled Follow Your Heart, St. Francis of Assisi. And this is showing me that this week you have gotten or will get some kind of news, some kind of message that actually does bring you some of the nourishment that you feel that you've been missing in your soul, in your heart, which actually does help bolster your self-esteem and bring you a piece of you back to yourself. That's exactly what it's showing me. So that's a good thing, and I'm happy for you with regards to that. All right, third card, which is next week, the third week of July, which I can't believe we're here already, is titled Archangel Raphael. Oh, and this is good. So my good buddy, our good buddy, Archangel Raphael shows up for you this next week. And I believe this is linked to, you guys are probably aware, but we have a few astrological events happening this month. One tomorrow, which I believe is the partial solar eclipse, maybe two tomorrow, and the new moon. Yeah. And then another, I believe, eclipse happening on the 27th of this month, somewhere around there. And so those are astrological events that really affect us strongly. We may or may not even realize it, but these events do affect this world just as much as they affect the tides and flows of the waters of this world and other things, that sometimes they affect electrical currents, communications, all different types of things. They affect us physically and mentally and emotionally and other ways as well as human beings. Yes. So since there's so much powerful energy happening and occurrences happening in that area this month, especially this week and next week, or maybe the week after, Archangel Raphael, the healing angel, or his name means God heals, is showing up for you guys, so that the roller coaster you might be on this month because of these strong energies, so that he can help you heal from any bruises, so to speak, in regards to these energies. So that's a beautiful thing. You'll and I do feel like you'll notice that things aren't hitting you as hard as they could from next week on. You're better able to deal with it, and know that that's because Archangel Raphael is working with you and helping you and healing these energies for you, helping to keep you whole. So that's a beautiful thing. Thank you, Archangel Raphael. And thank you to all your entire divine team, because they play a part as well. The card for the last week of this month, the fourth week, is titled Listen, Manjushri. And this shows me that you, the last part of this month, it's almost like you are gaining a crown of sorts. Your team is crowning you in a sense, because during that time, you actually are exhibiting a lot of growth and understanding and are able to cut through to the heart of the matter, especially when it comes to your self-esteem and owning it and strengthening it during this time, that you are actually cutting through anything that doesn't come to you or to your self-confidence in a positive way. You're just able to cut right through and see to the heart of the matter, and see that has no bearing on who you are as a person, as a human being, and it should not, and that you don't allow it to affect your self-esteem or chip away at it. So you learned that lesson rather in a short period of time this month, Aries friends. That's wonderful. This also goes back to your challenge card. They're very similar. In that they were saying part of your challenge this month would be sitting with yourself. I see you getting to that point. Even though it's a challenge, I see you overcoming that in this, especially towards the end of this month, the last week, that you actually are able to conquer that challenge and that you do it well. So it's like they're crowning you for your accomplishments and the mastery you achieve this month. Well done, Aries. Okay, your final card in the timeline that shows the extra energies that that may be swirling around out there that I mentioned earlier. This is called Chantal, sorry. And let's see. This is taking me back to those two flowers that I mentioned, the iris and the violets, I believe they were. What they're saying is that what wasn't already mentioned as far as the energies of those flowers is that those two flowers will help you guys deal with and take a better look at those shadow aspects of yourself that are negatively affecting your self-esteem, that these two flowers are going to help soften things up for you and help you see things a little bit better. So that's good. Okay, that helps explain those two flowers a bit better. Then your final card, and I remembered, sometimes I forget to mention this final card in your spread, shows, this is the outcome card, and it shows what all of the energies prior to it in this reading for this month, what they're leading up to, what the flow of this reading is where it's landing you. And this is titled Akasha. This is just saying that this month is really about you gathering information about yourself spiritually. You're sifting through and sorting through yourself so that you can end up here, to the point where you're being crowned because you've grown by leaps and bounds as far as how well you treat yourself, because you better understand yourself. So that, my dear Aries friends, is your reading for July. And I wish you a beautiful, beautiful July. It looks like it will be for you, especially towards the end, when it all comes together for you. Okay? All right, until next time. Talk to you all soon.